Hello friends, hope you all are doing good. So today I bring new question sets. This is the part 9 question sets for three questions. So as you know that we keep on releasing a challenge set having three questions. So each questions have its own difficulties and own simplicity also. So you need to understand or read the questions very carefully, and whenever there is a questions, before reading the questions, first switch your into the cluster, and then after that you will start reading the question in the CKA exam. If the question you find it difficult, then jump into the second question and again first switch to the cluster, because sometimes you can just forget to switch into the correct cluster and do the stuff there, as per the question asked. So in this will you will score nothing. So you have to perform your activity in in the correct cluster for which the question is talking about. So before reading each of the questions, keep a main target to first switch to the cluster and then start reading the questions. This is the tip for today's. And now I'm moving to the challenge number 1. So you can see that these particular questions have a weightage of 7%. So maybe there is some complexity, some little bit difficulties, or maybe there is some more steps that you need to follow. So you can understand in this way. So the question says that the name of the pod is my Nginx pod, which is using the Nginx in the custom namespace, and it's not running. So there might be some problem, there might be some error, there might be some that the pod is currently in the pending states. So you need to find the problem, and after that you need to fix it and make it running. This is the main agenda of the questions. And in the note part, mentions that all the supported definitions file has been placed at root. So this is not the something the pod is running a standalone. Maybe it's using some network policies, or maybe there is some relations with the persistence volume, whatever it is, because there are, it mentions that there is several definitions file, not a single file of the pod definitions. There is some several means more than one. So you have to look into that particular root also, that what the definitions file we have, and why the particular pod is currently in the error or in the pending state, or whatever the problem we have for this particular questions. We have to first observe each and everything very properly, and then start looking for the problem, finding the problem, and then we will fix it. So in these questions, it's there is no restrictions. It means we are free to do it, but we have to keep the specification as it is, that we have to use this particular name of the pod and the Nginx, and it should be running. So this is the only conditions, that it's not asking we cannot delete the pod, we cannot delete some other objects and recreate it. It's not been mentioned in this particular question. So we are free to do it, these types of steps. So let's jump into the lab to see what is the complexity there, and we will try to fix it. So as per the questions, we have to look into the custom namespace for a pod, my Nginx pod, which as per the question is not running. Either it's in the error state or in the pending state. So I have to look into that particular pod. So kubectl, I will use the custom namespace. Okay, and the get pod. So it will list all the pod in the custom namespace. So it's in the pending state. So the pod name is my Nginx pod as per the questions, and which is in the pending state. So first thing, we need to understand why this in the pending state. For this we need to describe the pod. So whenever there is any questions that is related with the pod is in the error or in the pending state, you need to first describe the pod. From here you need to start the investigation. You don't need to jump onto the kubectl to just understand why the pod is not working. Maybe the kubectl is working fine and some problem with the pod. So you have to first describe the pod. So I am going to describe the pod. Kubectl describe uh, pod, the name of the pod. Okay, let me give the namespace first, custom. Okay, and then describe pod my nginx pod. Okay, and if you look into this particular pod, you can find that there is a persistence volume is also used in the pod persistence volume claim. This is fine. And if you look into the warning, the failed scheduling, why the kube scheduler is not able to make it running this particular pod, you will find that 0 1 means there is a one persistence claim, and it's as a 0 there is assignment of 0 nodes are available. So out of there is one nodes and there is 0 nodes available for this particular pod, and the reason is that one persistence volume claim PV claim log is not found. So it looks that either the PVC is not created and it's assigned to that particular pod, or maybe there is some different problem. So we need to first check the PV and the PVC. Also in the questions that it's mentioned all the definitions file we keep on the root folder. So we will try to browse that particular things also. So let's clear the screen first. Let's So here you will find that we have the pod.yaml, pv.yaml, and the pvc.yaml. So I think that there is a pvc already exist in the, but there is some problem with the pvc. That's why the pod is not able to utilize that particular pvc, and it's not in the running state. So let me check kubectl get pv. So if you look into that particular thing, the status is bound. Okay, so things looks like that the pv is bounded with the pvc. But when you look into the claim, the pvc is already created, but it's created in the default namespace. So as I already mentioned in my previous videos for the sessions in which we are dealing with the persistence volume and claim, if you didn't have a look on that particular videos, you can go for the better understanding, in which we discussed that the persistence volume claim is namespace thing. So PVC and pod should be exist in the same namespace, and this as per the this description, it looks like the PVC that is created in the default namespace. So this is the problem, I think, with this particular the pod is not in the running state. And what we are going to use, we are going to delete this particular PVC, and we will going to use going to modify that definitions file to use that particular namespace, the custom one, in which we have the already the pod running. So before doing anything, let's check the PVC as well. Get PVC, and it's also bounded, but it's in the default namespace because we are not passing the namespace things, and it's coming from the default, and the PVC is in the, and let me check kubectl in the custom namespace. Do we have any PVC or not? Custom get PVC. No, we don't have any name is PVC in the custom namespace. So we have to bring that particular PVC in the custom namespace. So for this, we are going to modify the definitions file. Before that, we need to delete this particular PVC. kubectl get okay, delete PVC. The name of the PVC is PV claim. Okay, we deleted it because we already have the definitions file. We don't need to bother about that. Definitions file is already in place. And let's see the status of PV. kubectl get PV. So you can see that previously the PV is bounded and now it's released. It's not available. So we need to destroy the PV also, because we are going to create PV again and then PVC in the custom namespace to make the things work. So we are going to delete it as well. kubectl delete PV. The name of the PV is my PV log. Okay, so it's also get deleted. Now we have to modify the PVC. So we are going to edit it, pvc.yaml, and here we have to go into the insert mode, and here we have to use our the namespace related thing. So namespace custom, because we have to you create a PVC in the custom namespace, not the default namespace, because our pod is running in the custom namespace. So let's save it. Okay, let's look into the PV also. pv.yaml. So PV is fine because it's not namespace related namespace, because it's always been the part of the default. So there is no problem with the PV. All things looks good. Let's clear the screen. kubectl apply pv.yaml. Okay, PV is created. Let monitor that. kubectl get PV. It's created in the default namespace, and its status is available. So we need to bound it. So we are going to apply the PVC definitions file. PVC. Okay, kubectl get PVC, but it will not get any give you any result because we created in the default in the custom namespace. So you can see that there is a bounding between the, there is already a bound status set for the PVC, and if you check for the PV again, kubectl get PV, so it's also bonded, and the claim is from the custom, not from the default. So in this way you understand that what is the problem. So these types of questions is very simple, and they will ask you in the similar way in the CKA exam, and you should understand these particular scenarios, and they will not make it difficult. The things will be very simple, that it's not utilizing, or there is the PVC is all not created for in any namespace, so you have to create it. So these types of things they will ask you in the question. Let's see the status of the pod. kubectl custom get pod. So it's now it's in the running state. So we identified the problem, we fixed the problem, and now the pod is automatically in the running state, because the PVC is now in the custom namespace where we have the pod already. We previously in the pending, now it's in the running state. So this completes this particular lab. Okay, in the challenge number 2, we have to create a multiple container pod. So in the multiple container pod, we have a different, more than one container. That's the container is called as a multi-container pod. So we have to create a multi-container pod name as the multi-pod in the development namespace. Okay, so this is the things we have to create. So we have to first look into either the development namespace exists in the environment or not. So if it's exists, then we have to create it, and if it not exist, then we have to if it exists, then we don't have to create it, and if it's not exist, then we have to create it. And we can use the image engine X and Redis as per the questions. The weightage is 4%. It's clearly means that this is a very simple question. There is no complexity. If we define all the YAML definitions file perfectly fine, then it will be in the running state without any problem. So now jumping to the lab to just create a multi-pod container pod. So for this question, we have to create a multi-container pod. Name is multi-pod in the development namespace. So first thing we need to check that either the development namespace exists or not. So kubectl get ns is for namespace, and we don't have the development, so we will create a one. Kubectl create ns. Okay, so we have the development namespace created. Let's clear the screen first. Now we need to create a definitions file for the multi container pod that will have the container one from you using the Nginx and another using the Redis. So for that we will generate the definition file and we will use it accordingly. So kubectl run the name of the pod multi pod. The image we will define for first one. Image is equal to Nginx, and we will use the dry run is equal to client, and we will output of YAML. So this will give the definitions file. I copy from this locations till this locations. Copy it. Let's clear the screen. Okay, so now I'm going to create a file called multipod.yaml. Okay, here we are going to paste it, and the things which is not required just going to remove to have a clear visibility. Okay, we don't require label because nothing in the questions as such. And the container name, I'm also going to change it to the same as we have for the image, because we can't use the same image for the both container. The name of the container engine X. Okay, and we're going to copy from here, copy it. I'm going to paste it here. Okay, now for the image we are going to use Redis, and the same as the name of the image we are going to use Redis as well. So all things looks good, but one thing is left, that we need to create this multi-pod into the development namespace as per the question. So here we will put a namespace called development. Okay, that's it. This is the simplest question, and we are going to save it and going to apply it. Kubectl apply -f, and here we are going to provide the definition file for the multipod. And it's created. It will take some time. We have to monitor it. Kubectl get pod, but not in the default namespace. We have to use the development environment for this. Okay, so it's currently in the creating state. We will have to wait for some time because we can't jump into the other questions till we find it as running, or maybe there is some problem, then we have to fix it accordingly. So wait for some time. Okay, so now it's in the running state. So we created a multi-container pod, and we will try to describe it as well to check all things are in the proper place or not. Kubectl, the namespace, development, describe pod. The name of the pod is multi-pod, and here you can see that there will be two containers. The one container is of name Nginx and other is of Redis using the Redis image, and the other one is the Nginx image. So perfect, fine. All the things is working accordingly. Let's clear the screen. So we complete this particular lab. Now jumping to the other question. Okay, in this challenge number 3, a pod that is named as the Nginx pod which is using the image nginx in the default namespace. Again, it's not running, so there is might be some problem, but it's not talking about any YAML file kept in a particular locations, as we already seen in the first questions. So whatever we have in the environment, we have to copy that YAML file using our command, and we will try to figure out why this particular pod is not running, what is the problem, because in the kube scheduler is responsible for running any pod. So we have to look into that aspect also, tent aspect also. So there are several things, but we will, when we describe the particular node, it will particular pod, it will give us a correct reason. If the reason is not available there, then the cube, we have to check into the cube scheduler, because cube scheduler have the responsibility to run the pods, and why it's currently in error or in the pending state. We have to look into the problem, try to understand the problem and fix it, because this particular question have the weightage of 7%. So either we have to perform several activities, or maybe there is some difficulties level that we have to understand and fix it. Sometimes the question is very quick and you will find it but very quickly, and but sometimes we have to perform several steps to achieve this particular solution. So it's depend upon the questions to questions. So now jumping to the lab session to understand the problem, and we will fix it accordingly and make the pod run in the running state. Okay, so in this particular questions, there is a pod called Nginx pod using the image Nginx is not running in the default namespace. So we have to find the problem and fix it and make it running. So let's see either the pod exists, or maybe first we have to check it. Let's sit here, get pod. So okay, we have the pod called Nginx pod, which is currently in the pending, not in the error state. So the descriptions of this particular pod, if we check that, that will be very helpful, because it's in the pending or in the error. First point of investigation is to describe this particular pod to find the reason. So we are going to do the same, kubectl describe pod. Name of the pod is Nginx pod. Okay, so in this is the warning, and the kube scheduler have the message like failed scheduling, default scheduler applied, and there is two node in the, and out of it none of the node is available. One node has taint color blue, and other pod didn't tolerate. Okay, one node had taint, so both of the taint both of the pod have taint applied, and maybe this is something related with the tolerations, because maybe this particular pod don't have the tolerations for any of the node. That's why it's currently in the pending and waiting for the deployment. So if we apply the tolerations for this particular pod, then might be it will be in the running state. So let's clear the screen first. So first we will verify how many nodes we have. So as per the error, we have two nodes. So okay, we have two node, and we have to verify that okay, what is the taint applied, means as per the error, both of the node have the taint. So kubectl describe node control plane, and we are going to grep for taint. Okay, this have the taint applied, and what about the node 1? This also have the taint applied, but we will not going to deploy anything on the master, this is not a good practice. So we will make the tolerations and make it compatible this particular pod to get deploy on the this particular node 01. So we are going to apply the tolerations, but we don't have the definitions file as per the questions. And let me check if we have anything there, but it's not there. And in the question also it's not mentioned that we have the definitions file in the root or some other places. So we will need to copy the structure or the definitions from the running node. So kubectl get pod. Okay, so we will going to copy these particular things in a file called pod.xml, something like that, and we will remove the things accordingly. But as per the questions, there is only two things that is used, which is the nginx. The name of the pod is the nginx and the image is nginx. So we can create our own definitions file also. But it's not good practice because maybe there is some other configurations also in the pod. So we have to capture the running pod configurations, and we will then look into what things we can remove and what things we can keep. We can manage the things accordingly. So kubectl get pod, the name of the pod is nginx, output of YAML into a file called pod.yaml. So we will keep all the things in the pod.yaml, all the definitions file for the particular pod, which is currently in the pending state. Let's check either it's created or not. Let's clear the screen. Let's look into the definitions file also. vi pod.yaml, and it's have lots of information, so we need to remove all the things which is not required, and then we will going to go to delete that particular pod. So I'm going to remove one line one by one. Okay, so creating time instant, we don't require label, we will keep. We will not require these all things, so we are going to remove it. It's in the default namespace, so namespace is also not there, I think. API version, these all things not required. Let's remove 10 line. Let's remove 10 more line. Okay, remove it. Name of the pod is required. The default namespace is not required because it will create by default in the default namespace. These all things will not required. Image not required. And all the remaining things I think we don't require. So we're removing all the things, whatever it is. Okay. So now we need to apply the tolerations part, and for this we are going to refer the documentations, and as per the documentation this is the line which we have to keep, copy, and we are going to use it. Is it here? Container, just paste it and make it a line also, because otherwise it will complain. Let's move it to a space, to a space. Okay, now schedule is perfectly fine. Equal operator is also fine. The key, we have the color. COLOR. Okay, this is the key and the value is blue. Because we are going to apply this particular pod in the node 1. So we have to meet the tolerations with the tent. Okay, all things looks good. Now we are going to save it. Okay, and now we have to remove delete that particular pod which is currently in the pending state. Ctl get pod. So this is the pod in the pending state, qctl delete pod nginx pod. It will get deleted because it's in the pending state, it's not running, that's why it not take time. Now I'm going to apply qctl apply pod.yaml and hope the thing this time the pod will be in the running state. So let's monitor it. qctl pod, it's in the current container creating state. So we will wait for some seconds and probably it will be in the running state. Okay, so now it's in the running state because it's meet the taint that we applied. We applied the tolerations things, which is compatible with the node 1, and we will monitor this as well. And let's clear the screen. So we will monitor it on which node it's get deployed. qctl get pod or wide. This will give you more option, and here you can find that the nginx pod, it's in the running state. This is the IP, and it's using the node 01 for the deployment, so it's running on the node 01 worker node. So in this way we complete this particular lab as well. Okay, thank you for watching these videos, and if you like my videos, then please subscribe to my channel and click on the like button, and also press on the bell icon so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get notified, and share it with your friends as well, so that you can make a good environment and share the knowledge also, and discuss on a particular questions together, and keep learning and be safe. Thank you for watching this video.